My village had its land reclaimed to build an airport. I didn't say a word and was the first to sign. Taking nearly $10 billion to live in the city, the village head scolded me for being stupid. The neighbors laughed at me for being foolish. Everyone said just wait longer. Who knows, we might get more than 10 billion. They urged each other to become land squatters, blocking the construction site gate every day to force the price up. A year later, I drove back to the village to visit the graves. The squatters were huddled by the wasteland, holding onto my arm and crying. The airport isn't being built anymore. Not a single penny of compensation is left. Everyone listen up. The document from the town has been sent down. An international airport is about to be built. The chosen location is our Ngoa Long village. This is a big deal. Each household will be compensated nearly 10 billion. That number was like a rock thrown into the water. The whole crowd went dead silent. Then came an even louder uproar. Nearly 10 billion, and they act like they're doing us a charity favor. A harsh voice rang out. I immediately recognized it as my cousin, Von Kwong. This is unacceptable. Last year, the neighboring district built a high-speed railway. Each household got more than 10 billion. Why would an airport have lower compensation? The villagers were riled up, each person jumping up, faces flushed red, arguing loudly. My old house, plus a few saw of poor agricultural land. The location is off-center. The house is dilapidated. Nearly 10 billion. With that money in the city, I could buy a decent house outright and still have a large amount left over. This is the money we can firmly hold in our hands, while the nearly 18 billion level they're shouting about is just a pie in the sky. Watching Ly Phuc Thai's eyes just meet Von Kwong's, I understood immediately. These two were putting on an act, one tossing and the other catching, one shouting, one chiming in, just to drive the price up. I understand everyone's mood. Nearly 10 billion, it really is a bit low. My point is the whole village must unite, binding together as one. No one is allowed to sign first, whoever dares to sign. That person is the center of the whole village. My parents died early. In the household registration book, it is only me left. Everyone in this village knows. My family's affairs, I decide alone. Well, what is it? Do you have a different opinion? I didn't even bother looking at him, just turned to the official sitting behind the desk. Comrade, I agree with this compensation plan. This young comrade has high awareness. Come over here, we can sign the agreement right on the spot. Tranin, are you crazy? For nearly 10 billion, and you already sold your ancestor's house. How will you explain this to your aunt and uncle in the afterlife? Tran Lang, don't act recklessly. This matter is related to the interests of the whole village. I only worry about the interests of my family. At this price, I accept. Having said that, I push through the crowd, walking straight to the table displaying the contracts and the ink pad. Just for a few cheap coins, you don't even need your ancestors anymore. Spit, how could our village produce a thing like you? I acted as if I didn't hear it, took the pen, and signed my name at the end of the contract. Tran and Comrade Xiao Tran. Thank you for your support. The compensation money will be transferred to your card within 3 days. I nodded, carefully put away my copy of the contract, then turned around, intending to leave. Tran, if you dare to step out of this door today, then in the future, don't even hope to return and go along village. My family doesn't have relatives like you. I am wishing for exactly that. I returned home. Inside the house, it was freezing cold, the old brick house of several decades, the wall plaster peeling off in chunks. The house was full of a stale, musty smell. Since the day my parents died, I clung on alone in this drafty house. Clinging on amidst the gossiping words of the villagers, the face of Von Kwong's family appeared in my head again. His family built a new house, insisting they lacked land for the foundation. They encroached on a whole meter of my family's wall corner. The road in front of the door was repaired. Every family had to contribute money. My family contributed. His family stubbornly refused to pay. In the end, it was still my father who advanced the money for them. Until now, they still haven't paid it back. For all these years, has his family taken little advantage of me? Now, they put on an act talking about the grandparents' legacy, talking about relative affection. Truly ridiculous. Tranin, I'm Ly Phuc Thai here. You immediately return to the ancestral hall for me. cross out that signature. A signed contract is effective. Effective my ass. I tell you, as long as the village committee hasn't nodded. Then your contract is just scrap paper. Now you're the enemy of the whole village. Got it? I only know that in 3 days, nearly 10 billion will go into my account. As for how you guys want to cause trouble, go ahead. The world became completely quiet. I started packing my things. Actually, there was nothing much to pack. A few changes of clothes, a black and white photo of my parents. As for this pile of dilapidated tables and chairs, I didn't want to bring any of them. I want to say a very decisive farewell to this place. 2 days later, the phone notified a message. Looking at that long string of zeros, my heart hardly rippled. There was only a feeling that everything had finally been settled. I slung the backpack over my shoulder, took one last look at the house I had lived in for more than 20 years, then locked the door. I threw the key into the ditch in front of the gate. At the beginning of the village, a crowd was gathering there. Ly Phuc Tai and Vong Quang stood prominently in the crowd. As soon as they saw me, they were like flies seeing blood. Not that easy. What are you doing? Planning to rob? You cut off the money path of the whole village. Today, if you don't make it clear, then don't even hope to leave, right? We can't let him go that easily. They surrounded me in the middle, everyone filled with an air of righteous indignation, as if I had just committed a heinous crime. I burst out laughing. My money path was given by the state, while your money path is the one you yourselves blocked off. What does your money have to do with me? Stop talking nonsense. Either you take the money out, share half with everyone, or today you can only leave here lying down. Vong Quang, are you threatening me? What if I threaten you? Try touching me. Intentional injury plus extortion of property. Guess how many years you'll have to sit in there. Vong Quang's fist froze in midair. Ly Phuc Tai's complexion kept changing, finally stepping out to mediate. Oh dear, we are all one family. Young people are just hot-headed for a moment. Tran, see if this works. Don't be in a hurry to leave. Let's discuss it some more. There is nothing to discuss. The contract states very clearly, after signing, one must move out within 7 days. I'm just following the rules. Tran Lang. You just wait, then you will regret it by the time we get about 17 to 18 billion. No, more than 35 billion. Then don't come back crying and begging us. I didn't turn my head back, getting on the passenger bus heading to the inner city. Watching Go Along Village getting smaller and smaller in my field of vision, eventually becoming just a blurry dot in my heart, there was not a bit of lingering attachment. Goodbye and Go Along Village. Goodbye to those relatives in name only. Arriving in the city, a blast of hot air mixed with the smell of vehicle exhaust hit me straight in the face. Completely different from the smell of mud and earth in the countryside, this is a place full of steel, glass, and opportunities. Hello, sir. I want to buy a house, paying fully in one lump sum. An available house can close the deal today. You've met the right person. What are your requirements? 3 bedrooms, 1 living room, about 100 square meters, a somewhat stable residential area, budget around 6 billion. At that range, there is no problem. Look at this balcony. This unit is priced at nearly 6 billion, all furniture gifted. Pack your bags and move right in. If you really want to buy, I can still squeeze the price down more for you. No need to haggle anymore. This unit for nearly 6 billion, I'll buy it. Aren't you going to look at any other units? No need. With the remaining money, I bought a domestic SUV for about 700 million. After finishing the paperwork, there was still over 2 billion left over. I didn't put it in a term deposit, but kept it in a flexible financial package in case of urgent need. 3 days later, Uncle Seven called me. Shaolin, after moving there, you used to living there? Very fine, Uncle Seven. How are things back in the countryside? Oh, don't mention it anymore. You left. Vong Quang's gang is making a bigger mess. What's wrong, Uncle? They chipped in money to set up a shack at the beginning of the village, and even established what they called an Go Along Village Rights Claiming Alliance. Every day, there are people standing guard there, not letting the construction team in. They even printed flyers saying the compensation level is too low. Resolved to fight to the end. Doesn't the village head manage this? Him. He is exactly the ringleader. Now, every day, Ly Phuc Tai holds meetings, impassioned. Human nature is truly unguessable. Taking nearly 10 billion to the city to buy a house. Living peacefully isn't that good enough. They insist on dreaming of getting rich big. Now everyone calls you stupid, saying you lost out on 3 to 4 billion. Oh right, Von Kwong also goes around everywhere spreading rumors that wait until you spend all your money, having nowhere to stay. Then you will have to come back to the village crying. At that time, he won't give you a single penny, as long as he's happy. I've heard those kinds of words so much that I'm used to it. Shaolin, back then you signed so quickly. Was it that you had figured something out? It's nothing, Uncle Seven. I just felt that money held firmly in the hands is truly one's own money. Yeah, that's true. All right then. Over there you remember to take good care of your health. That crowd I see that until they reach it dead and they won't wake up. All fools. Who is the real fool in the end? Time will prove everything. I opened my phone. On a news app, I followed a few keywords, airport, and go along village, land reclamation. I wanted to see how this farce that I myself initiated would eventually end. My new life in the city adapted faster than I thought. There were no more petty matters between neighbors, nor the sight of relatives calculating every little thing. The whole world suddenly became completely quiet. Half a month later, the news app I followed pushed a notification. I swiped to continue reading and saw a whole interview segment of Von Kwong. What is the price level everyone expects? Each household must be at least this much, must be nearly 30 billion. Less by 1 penny won't do. Our Ngo Along village has beautiful mountains and pure water. Later, when the airport is built, won't the land price around here skyrocket? We do this thinking for the descendants of the next generation. Previously, our village had a trader named Tran, and just for nearly 10 billion. And was the first one to sign and leave. That kind of person is truly short-sighted, without any collective spirit. Wait until we hold nearly 30 billion. At that time, even if he cries, he won't know who to cry to. His kind shouldn't even dream of setting foot in Ngo Along village ever again in the future. Ha 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 ha. In the video, he was visibly gloating, as if nearly 30 billion was already resting snugly in his pocket. I turn off the phone, brew myself a cup of tea. By the window, the afternoon sun was blazing red. I wasn't angry at all. I even felt a bit of pity for them, trapped by their own greed in that tiny village. Dreaming a get-rich dream without ever waking up, that in itself was already a punishment. That night, Uncle Seven called me again, his voice full of worry. Shaolin, have you seen the news? Von Kwong's crowd is now determined to fight to the bitter end, insisting on demanding nearly 30 billion to be satisfied. I saw it, Sai. That crowd of people has gone truly mad, completely mad. The project side said the maximum they will add is only 700 million, more, meaning rounding it up to more than 10 billion. Yet they still won't agree. The people who came to negotiate were also beaten by them. Their cars were even smashed. Smashed cars too. What else? Now the police have arrived too, arresting a few ringleaders who beat people up. Von Kwong ran fast, so he hasn't been caught yet. Now the village is in complete chaos. Ly Fook Tai can't suppress it anymore. Let me tell you, now the village is divided into several factions. There's a faction demanding nearly 30 billion. There's a faction demanding more than 35 billion. Then there are people who say, why not pool capital to build houses ourselves, later sell them as housing complexes for those working at the airport. There's someone saying everything. I immediately imagine that chaotic scene, a crowd of people divided without seeing the reality, blinded by an illusionary number, starting to infight, starting to attack each other. Uncle Seven, don't get involved. Just taking care of your own family is enough. I know. I just feel sorry for them, and also worry about you too. That guy Von Kwong is out there dropping words, saying sooner or later he'll go up to the city to find you to settle the score. Just let him come. I'm waiting right here. A person who doesn't even regard the law as anything. His threatening words mean nothing to me. What I really care about is that airport project. Making such a big fuss like this, how much longer can the investors and the authorities be patient? Before my eyes, 3 months had passed. During that time, I several times refused Uncle Seven's words telling me to go back to the village to see how things were. News about Ngo Along village still intermittently transmitted over. After Von Kwong's crowd smashed the project side's cars, The opposing side also became much tougher, not only canceling the additional $700 million relocation bonus, but also issuing a notice. If the villagers continue to obstruct construction, they will use legal measures to pursue all economic damages caused by them. At this point, the villagers finally panicked, but Vong Quang and Ly Phuc Tai held another meeting to encourage the whole village. This is a scare tactic from the developer. It is the last darkness before the dawn. As long as everyone holds on a little bit more, victory will belong to us. He also said he has inside information that this airport project is a policy from the provincial level. It cannot be changed. The developer is even more anxious than us. Being late one day means losing money for one more day. Now it's just to see which side is more stubborn. The majority of the villagers were persuaded by him once again. They chose to believe what they wanted to believe. They even made a huge fuss out of everything, pushing this incident all the way to the city television station. A program named Online Citizen Life actually even sent a reporter to interview. I watched that episode on the internet. In a frame, the Ngoa Long Village Ancestral Hall was turned into a combat command post. Slogans were pasted all over the walls. Villagers surrounded the reporter, each person saying a sentence complaining about their hardships. We have lived here our whole lives. Now, because of building the airport, you chase us away, yet only compensating us that much money. How will we live in the future? We are not land speculators. We are just demanding our legitimate rights. What can nearly 10 billion do in this day and age? Our request is not high. We only hope to apply the standard of similar areas to give us a fair price. We trust the government, trust the law, will give us a satisfactory answer. The prestige of Vong Quang and Ly Phuc Tai in the village at that time reached its peak. They even organized a full supervisory team, taking turns standing guard at the beginning of the village every day, checking every strange vehicle entering the village, afraid that some family would secretly contact the project board. The entire Ngoa Long village turned into an impenetrable fortress. They were united in one heart, together protecting the get-rich dream of nearly 30 billion. Even more than 35 billion. A year passed in the blink of an eye. When spring came again, I had firmly established myself in the city. I used the capital in my hands, partnered with a friend to open a small cultural media company. Although the scale was not large, the work was stable, the income was quite good. I had completely gotten used to the rhythm of city life, driving to work every day, on weekends gathering with friends, or go to the gym to sweat it out for a bit, and go a long village, the place that gave birth to and raised me. In my memories, it became increasingly faint, like an old, faded photograph. Vong Quang, Ly Phuc Tai, those once very familiar faces, I was also about to be unable to remember them anymore. I kept thinking the karmic debt between me and that Ngoa Long was completely broken. It wasn't until right before the Qingming festival I received a call from Uncle Seven. Uncle Seven, Xiao, and this year for Qingming, are you still coming back to the village to sweep the graves for your parents? I am. What's wrong, Uncle? Uncle Seven, are you still on the line? Yes. Xiao, in the village, there's probably a big event coming. What big event? That airport, the project board side, for nearly 3 months now, no one has been seen coming anymore. 3 months, yes, before that every now, and then they would still send someone to take a look. Although not entering the village, but still lingering around there. Yet since after Tet until now, there hasn't been a shadow of anyone seen. The temporary office of the project board at the beginning of the village has also been abandoned for a long time. What about Vong Quang's crowd? At first, they still said the developer couldn't bear it anymore, intentionally keeping dead silent. To force us to bow our heads first, Vong Quang even told everyone to stay calm, saying victory was right before our eyes. But now it's been 3 months already, and there hasn't been a bit of movement. 2 days ago, my son-in-law, who works in the town government, secretly told me that. He heard a rumor. What rumor? It is that the province just held a meeting. They saw that on our Ngoa Long village's side, the land reclamation cost was too high. Moreover, the popular sentiment here has such a bad reputation. The influence is not good. So in the immediate future, they have considered moving the new airport location to the neighboring Phuong Minh city. Is that news certain, Uncle? Heavens, how could it be certain? It's just a rumor so far. But inside the village, there are people starting to panic. Last time Von Quang led a few people up to the town to inquire about the situation. The result was they couldn't even get past the gate. Now in the village, someone calls the town leaders. They don't even bother to pick up the phone. Many people suffer from insomnia every night, every day gathering at the big shack at the beginning of the village, sighing and groaning. They still haven't realized how serious the matter is. Some people have realized it, but don't dare to speak. Von Quang is still trying to hold on. Whoever dares to say the airport is no more, he will lash out at that person. He points at people calling them traitors, even saying he has connections up to the city, up to the province, one way or another. He can ask for the exact news. I laughed bitterly coming to this point, yet he's still dreaming. Xiao, this time you come back, remember to be careful. Now the people in the village are all very unstable, no different from a powder keg. Touch it, and it explodes. Absolutely do not provoke them. I know, Uncle Seven. Thank you for telling me. Exactly on Qingming Day, I decided to drive back to Ngou village for a trip, for no other reason. Just wanted to go before my parents' graves to let them know that their son is living very well in the city, and conveniently to go see with my own eyes the ending of that farce. In my heart, there was an unprecedented calmness when approaching the highway exit. My phone suddenly vibrated. I glanced at it. It was a push notification from the city's official news app. The bolded headline was like a heavy hammer, smashing straight into my heart. Final announcement regarding the change of location for building the new airport. I slowly pulled the car into the emergency lane, then opened that news article. The content of the announcement was short and easy to understand. The wording was standard yet cold, because the initially selected area encountered major obstacles in the land reclamation phase, causing the project to stagnate. To keep up with the schedule, the decision is made to relocate the entire new airport project to the neighboring Fuangmin City. The announcement takes effect on the same day. At the very end, it even attached an extra sentence that all initial phase agreements of the old project, along with the compensation plans, starting from the date of publishing this announcement, are all terminated and invalidated. I stared at those words for a long time. That meant the contract I'd signed, in theory, was also invalidated, but my money had been fully collected long ago. House and car had all been completely bought. The new life was also on track. To me, this announcement was just a scrap piece of paper. But for the others in Ngou village, those words were exactly a life-claiming talisman. It declared that for a whole year of their stubbornness and tug-of-war, the final outcome was just a joke from beginning to end. That get-rich dream of nearly 30 billion shattered. Even the initial nearly 10 billion also turned into water bubbles. I started the engine again, drove off the highway, heading towards Ngou village. The rain was getting heavier and heavier. The closer to the village, the muddier the road. The asphalt road that was previously renewed in preparation for building the airport had only been half done before being abandoned. The remaining half was still a dirt road, crushed by construction vehicles into massive potholes, flooded with murky yellow mud. The wheels just rolling past, splashed mud high over a person's head. In the distance, I saw at the beginning of the village the shack of the rights-claiming alliance that Von Quang's crowd once took pride in. Now it was completely ruined and tattered, the red banner torn by wind and rain, leaving only half drooping down on the shack's roof, the words on it also blurry, looking like a scar oozing blood and tears. Under the shack there wasn't a single shadow of a person. The whole shack sank into a deathly aura. Couldn't hear a single human voice, only the sound of wind and rain. I drove the car to the village committee's yard, then stopped. This was the center of the village, also the place where they held the village meeting in the past. I got out of the car, opened my umbrella. Every single house had its doors shut tight. On the courtyard walls of a few houses there was still the word "Demolish" that had been spray-painted red that year. Now it had been washed out by rainwater until faded. Next to it, someone had painted a few large characters with white lime. Those slogans on this cold, rainy day looked incredibly mocking. Is that Tran, and from here you returned then? Is life in the city good? Heard you went up there and made a big fortune. Where's everyone in the village? They're all over there arguing every day. Tran, you still dare to come back. Seems like you're living quite well, huh? even bought a car. Came back to see us make a joke out of ourselves, right? I came back to sweep the grave for my father. Sweep the grave? Truly making up excuses. You came back here to laugh in our faces, didn't you? Did you know from the beginning that the airport wasn't going to be built anymore? The crowd of villagers behind as soon as they heard the words, airport not being built anymore. Everyone shuddered, faces clearly showing panic. It seems Uncle Seven was not wrong. That matter to them was still just a rumor they didn't dare to believe. Shaoan has returned. Don't listen to Vong Quang talking nonsense. He is just too frustrated. This whole past year hasn't been easy at all. He intends to appeal to emotions. Not easy indeed, stubbornly holding onto a wasteland, dreaming every day of nearly 30 billion. Truly not easy. What 30 billion anymore? Now, there isn't even a little bit of movement. My family even sold our pigs, just waiting to hold the money. What do we do now? Her crying sound seemed to spread to others. Shut up, everyone. What is there to cry about? Within the crowd, there immediately sounded sobbing noises from one place to another. Nothing is certain yet. Tranan just wants to shake our morale. Village head, Brother Quang, this is bad. The city has issued an announcement. Really issued an announcement. Everyone look at your phones. The news is all over. The airport has been moved to Phuong Minh City. They're not building on our side anymore. ... It's all over. Oh my God, they're really not building anymore. Vong Quang, didn't you say you had inside information? Didn't you say they would definitely build? Now, speak up. It's also because you guys insisted on being land squatters, insisted on demanding nearly 30 billion. Now it's great. Not even 1 penny is left. Stop hitting. What's the point of hitting them? Can the money come back? The eyes of everyone all simultaneously gathered towards me. Those eyes were completely different from 1 year ago at the ancestral hall. No longer disdain, mockery, or indignation, but it was from a look mixed with jealousy, regret, and pleading. Almost desperate in their eyes, I had become the only person holding the life-saving straw. I am the only winner. Shaoan, Uncle was wrong. Uncle apologizes to you. Uncle had eyes but couldn't see Mount Tai. It was Uncle who was possessed by ghosts and demons. Listening to Vong Quang's instigation and even dragging the whole village down, we are truly idiots. Vong Quang, apologize to your cousin. Say it, a useless thing like you. Tranan, your cousin was wrong. I am not human. I'm a bastard. I shouldn't have incited everyone to become land squatters. Shouldn't have scolded you. Shouldn't have blocked you. It was me being greedy. It was me harming the whole village. I have wronged the villagers. Wronged the ancestors of Ngoa Long Village. Cousin, for the sake of your parents, please save us. You definitely have a way, right? You know many people in the city. Go put in a good word with the leaders. Help speak with the developer. We won't demand nearly 30 billion anymore. We don't need anything else, just begging for the initial nearly 10 billion level. Is that okay? Begging you here a year ago because I wanted to squeeze more money. Please help us. That's right. We know we were wrong. Truly know we were wrong. As long as we can still get the money. They once cursed me as the sinner of the whole village. And now, to claim back the money that originally belonged to them, they again treat me like a savior. Truly the biggest irony in life. The announcement is written very clearly. All agreements are already nullified. This path was chosen by yourselves. After clearing the weeds on the grave, when preparing to leave, I saw by the wasteland at the beginning of the village. Vong Quang, Ly Phuc Tai, and that crowd of villagers were still kneeling amidst the muddy water, looking in the direction I was leaving. Like a bunch of soulless clay statues, I got into the car, started the engine. The car left Ngoa Long Village in the rearview mirror, the village that gave birth to and raised me, along with those people kneeling on the ground, got smaller. Finally disappeared completely. I knew I would never come back again. The absurd and tragic story of Ngoa Long Village should also close here. Another 2 months passed. The weather entered midsummer. My media company received a large contract. If this project goes smoothly, both the scale and reputation of the company will go up to a new level. During the phase of running that project, in that period of time, I was so busy my feet didn't touch the ground. Every day, it was just commuting between the company and the clients, holding meetings, revising plans, tracking the schedule. Although slightly tired, but in my heart, I felt an unprecedented satisfaction. That evening, having just finalized the last contract with the client at the drinking table. After seeing the client off, my partner Truong Loy and I went to a street-side tavern to have a late-night meal to celebrate. Tran, you are really top-notch. Getting this project, we can consider ourselves to have truly stood firm this year. At the end of the year, we'll change for you and me each a luxury car. Ha ha ha. Let's drive together. To tell the truth, I've known you for more than a year, but I always feel that in your heart there is some hidden matter. You're not like us, the guys born and raised in this city. On you, there is a kind of, a ruthlessness toward yourself, and also a ruthlessness towards the past. I took a sip of beer, staying silent. He wasn't wrong. If I wasn't ruthless enough with myself, wasn't decisive enough with the past, then perhaps now I would still be in Goa Long Village, sitting with that crowd of people in that puddle of water, sighing and groaning. The phone rang. It was Uncle Seven calling. Since the last call, it had been quite a long time we hadn't contacted each other. Shawan, I'm not bothering you, am I? Ha ha ha. Uncle Seven's voice was clearly much more relaxed than last time. Not all, Uncle Seven. I just finished work. Are things stable on your side? Everything is stable. Now I'm staying with my son. He found me a job in the residential area over here. Very leisurely. Every month, I still get over 10 million. 100 times better than in the village. Today I called just to thank you. Thank me for what? If back then I hadn't listened to you, hadn't chimed in with their crowd doing reckless things, then how could I have the peaceful life like now? I realized that people cannot be greedy. Living down to earth, making a living decently is better than everything. Ha ha ha. It's good that you understand. Hey, by the way, let me tell you something. Ngoa Long Village is really a ghost village now. A few days ago, there was a heavy rain. A flash flood broke the big pit at the east end of the village. Water flooded entirely into the village, submerging several houses. The remaining people also moved away completely. Everyone ran to take refuge with relatives and friends. Now in the village, there is not a single shadow of a person. Only a few dilapidated houses left. An entire village just disappeared like that in the literal sense. And what about Oi Phuc Thai? Him, after getting a stroke that time, he just lay in the clinic continuously. He passed away a few days ago. His son took the corpse back, buried him hastily by the ancestral grave area. On the day of the funeral, including his family's relatives, gathering together, there were not even 10. People, very desolate. The other guy, too. No one even mentions him anymore either. He was just like a wisp of blue smoke, dissipating cleanly. After hanging up, I looked at the noisy crowd in the street-side tavern, drank a gulp of freezing cold beer. A feeling surged in my heart like I had crossed over to another lifetime. Ly Phuc Thai is dead. Vong Quang disappeared. Ngoa Long Village is also no more. The last thread of connection between me and that world was also completely cut off along with Uncle Seven's phone call. What are you thinking about? I came back to my senses, smiling at him. Nothing, just suddenly remembered some old matters. What's past is past, just let it pass. We have to look forward. Come on, cheers this glass, and then tomorrow we continue striving. I raised the glass, drinking it all in one gulp. That's right, must look forward. My future lies in this prosperous city, amidst this blazing sea of lights. Yet another year passed. The company developed even more smoothly than I thought. We completely nailed that tourism resort promotion project, achieving fame in one battle. Our reputation in the industry rose. The volume of work skyrocketed several times. The company also expanded from a small group of over a dozen people to a scale of more than 50 people. And I, from a lone wolf, became a genuine manager. I also changed cars from the previous joint venture model to a luxury German sedan. I also moved to a high-end apartment complex closer to the company, bought a more spacious unit. I became the young and highly talented boss Tran in the mouths of others. Every day going in and out of luxury office buildings, attending all sorts of social banquets, meeting all kinds of people, a busy but glamorous life. It had been a very long time since I remembered Ngoa Long Village anymore. That place, along with the people and old matters there, were all like a blurred dream from a previous life. That noon, I scheduled a meal with an important client at the revolving restaurant of a five-star hotel in the city center. Having finished discussing the cooperation, I saw the client downstairs. "Boss Tran, stop here, please." "Happy cooperation, Chairman LY. Take care on your way." I stood at the hotel door, waiting for the valet boy to drive my car over. Right at noon, outside on the road in front of the hotel, the traffic was bustling. The sunlight was a bit blinding. I slightly narrowed my eyes. Not far away, in front of the gate of a construction site, a group of workers were squatting on the side of the road, eating boxed lunches. They wore work clothes covered in dust and paint. On their faces was the exhaustion from making a living. That was an all-too-normal scene amidst this city. At first, I didn't pay attention either, but my eyes were drawn to a figure among them. He was holding a portioned rice box, burying his head, eagerly shoveling rice in his mouth like he was starving to death. Looking as if he had been fasting for a very long time. For some reason, I kept finding that silhouette familiar. That person had emaciated, almost to just skin covering bones. Disheveled hair, unkempt beard, skin tanned dark by the sun. Perhaps sensing my gaze, that person subconsciously raised his head to look in this direction. The moment our eyes met, both of us froze. Time seemed to freeze in that instant. Even though he had changed so much, aged, haggard, and so deteriorated, but I still recognized him right from the first glance. Vong Quang. Obviously, he also recognized me. In his eyes, first was a flash of bewilderment, then a massive shock. Right after that shock turned into shame and panic to the point of not knowing where to hide. His face immediately turned purplish red like pig liver. His hand holding the rice box started shaking uncontrollably, food spilling all over the ground. He hurriedly lowered his head down, abruptly turned his body away, turning his back towards me. As if just wanting to burrow straight down into the dust and dirt, I saw his thin, bony shoulders trembling violently. I stood still in place, quietly looking at him. Between us, the distance was not even 20 meters. But it was like being separated by a heaven, a hell. 2 years ago, in Ngo Long Village Ancestral Hall, he once pointed at my face, cursing me as the sinner of the whole village. 1 year ago, amidst the muddy puddle at the beginning of the village, he even knelt at my feet, begging me to save them. And now, we bumped into each other amidst this prosperous city. And he didn't even have the courage to raise his head to look at me once. "Excuse me, Mr. Tran. Your car has arrived, sir." I regained my senses, pulled my gaze back, nodded at the valet boy, then sat into the luxurious, smooth sedan. I didn't look in that direction even one more time. The car rolled smoothly and then merged into the rolling stream of traffic. In the rearview mirror, that construction site, that group of workers squatting eating rice, along with that miserable, disheveled figure. All quickly became smaller, finally disappearing completely. I turned on the music. A melodious tune floated throughout the car cabin. Outside the window were high-rise buildings closely packed together. It was a city full of vitality. I knew the nightmare named Ngo Long Village and that guy named Vong Quang had all been completely left behind by me. They were just an insignificant footnote to the point of not being worth mentioning on my path of life. While my path is stretching endlessly forward, leading to a brighter future, ever since the encounter with Vong Quang in front of the hotel door, for several days in a row my mood still couldn't completely calm down. Not out of pity, even less out of sorrow, but a feeling of absurdity. The script of fate sometimes writes more thrillingly and sarcastically than any novel. Two people who once grew up under the same roof, in just 2 to 3 short years, the trajectories of life had split into 2 parallel lines that would never intersect again. One line going all the way up to the high clouds, one line dropping straight down into the mud. It was exactly that feeling of absurdity that made me think one level deeper about money and success. Tran, what are you thinking about, daydreaming so much? Your soul left your body. Tonight there's a charity banquet. Several influential figures of the city's business association are all coming. I got 2 invitation tickets already. go with me to broaden our horizons and conveniently pull in some more connections. Originally, I intended to refuse, but seeing him so enthusiastic, I finally nodded. The company developing to this stage already, back and forth socializing is a hard thing to avoid. The banquet was organized at a luxurious riverside club. Gorgeous clothes, clinking glasses, in the atmosphere floated the scent of expensive perfume and soft laughter. On everyone's face was a neat, proper smile. Mouths discussing billion-dollar businesses and investment trends of the next quarter. Truong Loy was like a fish in water, immediately squeezing into the crowd. Finishing shaking hands with this person, then clinking glasses with that person. In no time, he was chatting animatedly with a few imposing-looking bosses. As for me, I felt myself a bit out of place. This scene made me remember the Ngoa Long Village Ancestral Hall. Comparing like that sounds very strange, but in the end, they're not much different. In the Ancestral Hall, the villagers went crazy over an illusionary nearly 30 billion. Whereas here, people are spinning around over projects and profit margins that can be touched and grasped. In their eyes burns the same thing, desire. It's just that here, desire is wrapped up more civilized, more elegantly. I held a glass of champagne, stepped out to a quite peaceful balcony, looking at the river view outside the glass door. It seems Boss Tran is not very used to bustling occasions like this. A cold female voice rang out beside me. I turned my head back and saw a woman wearing a white dress. Around 27 to 28 years old, a sharp aura on her hand, wearing only a simple watch. Amidst the crowd of jewelry and precious items, she became even more outstanding. I recognized her, Tatin, the person in charge of the fund's projects. It's not exactly about liking or disliking. It's just that I'm not very used to it. It's also understandable. The majority of people coming here are all to take connections, take resources. When your purpose is not to take, then naturally you will feel out of place. This way of speaking is interesting, MS, till you really see through things. Then what are you here for? Me, I came to give them a chance to spend money, a chance for them to feel they are noble, conveniently also getting a tax deduction. Her voice was calm, but her words were as sharp as a knife. I burst out laughing. This woman is truly interesting. It seems an MS. Two's eyes. Doing charity isn't anything too sacred either. Charity itself is very sacred. But as for the people, it's not certain, like an antique on an auction floor. Does the buyer truly know how to appreciate it? Or are they buying an admission ticket? Or simply just like the feeling of throwing money like water? That question perfectly touched upon the thought in my mind. I stayed silent for a moment. Probably there's a mix of everything. But no matter what the motive is, the final result is still that the fund receives money. So it is a good thing. Boss Tran, you think quite open-mindedly indeed. That's right. What we care about is just where the money will be used. Compared to those hypocritical motives, I value the practical results more, very realistic. It's just the same. I have researched about your company. In 1 year, rising from zero to become the new face of the industry. Entirely thanks to your vision and practicality. Boss, you understand better than the majority of people here the importance of results. We looked at each other and smiled. Right at that moment, the MC announced the charity auction officially began. The first auction item was a landscape painting by a famous contemporary painter, starting price around 1.7 billion. The crowd of tycoons below started raising their paddles one after another, the price being pushed up continuously, over 2.7 billion, over 3.4 billion, over 4 billion going once, over 4 billion going twice, over 4 billion going 3 times. I looked at those raised paddles. In my head there appeared again the wasteland and the big water pit in Ngoa Long Village. The asset that they had bet their entire fortunes and fates to hope to obtain. Here it was just a painless and itchless game. Truly too absurd. And also far too sad. After that charity banquet, Tatin and the words she said about results and motives were like a pebble, making ripples in my heart continuously. I started thinking deeper about one matter. What exactly is my purpose for making money? At first, it was to survive, to escape that village that suffocated me, to have a foothold in this city. Later, it was to prove myself. to prove my choice was right, to prove I saw further than the crowd who mocked me. Now I have a house, have a car. The company is also on track. The balance in the bank account increases every day. The phase of worrying about survival and proving myself has passed. So what comes next? I don't want to become the type of person who, besides making money, doesn't know what else to do, nor do I want to become the type of people at that banquet squandering endlessly. Using money to build up vanity, my money must have a more meaningful destination than that. Starting next week, I held a meeting with the management level at the company. After the meeting, everyone left. I called Truong Loy to stay back. Loy, you stay for a bit. What's up? Work matter? How much do you think our company's annual net profit is around now? Truong Loy immediately perked up. He grabbed the calculator and clicked away for a while, then reported a number that made even me a bit surprised. A safe estimate would still be several tens of billions, and we're even heading towards the hundreds of billions mark. Calculating the year-end bonus already? There will definitely be bonuses, but I'm thinking about something else. I want to establish a department, or more accurately launch a project, called Corporate Social Responsibility, CSR. Tran, you're not mistaken, right? We are a startup company, still in a phase of extremely fast expansion. Every penny must be spent in the right place. Those things are for the listed corporations to do, to polish their names. Our company right now. Isn't it too early? Not early. I'm not doing it for reputation. Then for what? 10 years, 20 years later, if our company is no longer around, who will remember us? What are we left behind? That, you are thinking too far ahead. Not far at all. I want to use 3% of the company's annual net profit to establish a specialized scholarship fund. A scholarship fund? Right. Not doing the general types of donations, not building charity schools, just doing one thing, sponsoring. Specifically sponsoring students in disadvantaged areas who pass the exams for key universities. But this sponsorship is not for free. We will cover the cost during 4 years of university. After graduation, they're free to choose their jobs, but within 10 years, they must repay that scholarship amount without calculating interest. That way, the fund can circulate forever. After hearing this, Truong Loy stayed silent for a very long time. He looked at me, his eyes full of scrutiny and incomprehension. It wasn't until a long while later that he spoke up. Tran, can I ask a question? Why education? Because education is the only path that can make a person truly escape the imprisonment of their personal circumstances. What it gives is not money, but vision, knowledge, and the right to choose. I don't want them to see it as charity. In this world, there are no saviors. In the end, humans still have to rely on themselves. What we give them is just a fulcrum to pry their fate up, and not a soft nest to lie still in and enjoy. Those words were almost exactly the summary for these past few years of my life. I understand. You are right. An enterprise must also have something to pursue besides money. I support you in this matter. Whatever you need me to do, just say it, haha. Okay. The first thing, help me schedule an appointment with MS to 10 of the 10 Quang Fund. I want to hand it over to a professional unit to operate. It will be much better than fumbling around ourselves. This matter is not only related to the future of the company, but also related to my own heart. I want to use this way to execute the most thorough reconciliation with my own past. Not forgiveness, but overcoming. The second meeting between me and Datin was scheduled at her fund's office. It was a small, inconspicuous building. The interior layout was also very simple. Apart from stacks of documents and photos of projects, there weren't any superfluous decorations. Staff members passed by continuously. Everyone's footsteps hurried, but on their faces they carried a very pure sense of mission. Something that I rarely see in commercial office buildings. Datin invited me into a small reception room, then personally poured me a glass of water. Welcome, Boss Tran. I didn't expect you to contact me so quickly. Because of the matter I want to do, I have thought it through carefully. I didn't beat around the bush, but directly took out a document folder from my leather briefcase and handed it to her. This is the scholarship plan I drafted myself, named the Takeoff Project. I want to use my company's name to provide the funding, then entrust your fund to directly implement and manage it. Datin received the document folder. Her expression gradually shifted from polite to focused. She read it very carefully, turning every single page, occasionally even using a pen to make a few annotations on it. I didn't disturb her, just quietly drank water. This plan, I spent several days in a row perfecting, in which there is not only the concept and goals of the takeoff project, but it also stipulates in great detail the screening criteria for applicants, the support level, the disbursement method, and the repayment clauses. There is even a long-term plan for tracking alumni and building a community. It can be said this was no longer a simple intention to do charity, but was a complete plan that could be implemented immediately. A complete project plan like this, Boss Tran, forgive me for speaking frankly. I have been doing fun projects for so many years, have met quite a few people who just act on temporary impulses, but like you, bringing along a whole rigorous logical framework to truly make things happen, this is the first time I've seen it. The majority of them only know to say how much money I want to donate, then toss all the troublesome parts over to us. Whereas a person like you, bringing along a detailed, mature plan and calculating thoroughly all the way here. You're the first person because this matter is not a temporary impulse. I have thought very seriously about it. I can see that, especially your revolving fund model, along with the 10-year interest-free repayment design, is very clever. It not only ensures the fund can operate sustainably, but more importantly, it preserves the dignity of the person being helped. This method has gone beyond the scope of ordinary charity. It is more like a value investment, investing in the future of human beings. MS, to you are exaggerating. No, I'm not exaggerating at all. This project, our fund accepts, we will set up a dedicated team to connect directly with your company and soon launch the takeoff project. The general work part finished discussing. The atmosphere softened a bit. Tatin looked at me, suddenly asking a rather private question. Boss Tran, I am still very curious. Why do you have such a deep torment? Regarding the matter of sponsoring poor students in disadvantaged areas, is it just for social responsibility? I met her questioning gaze, stayed silent for a moment. I didn't lament like someone complaining about their fate, didn't bring up the old matters and go along village, didn't expose the ugly faces of Von Quang and Ly Phuc Tai. Everything had already passed. No need to drag it out for others to see anymore. I just calmly answered her in a more generalized way. Because I've seen what true poverty is. It's not a lack of material things, but a mental prison built from ignorance, short-sightedness, and greed. It makes people lose their reason, distorts human nature, with their own hands pushing away the happiness that was originally right before their eyes, then watching helplessly as they themselves fall into an abyss with no way to turn back. I have met people like that, have seen a village like that, and education is the only key that can break that cage. It does not guarantee that you will be wealthy and noble, but at least it gives you a clear head and the ability to distinguish right from wrong. It gives you the strength to choose your own life, instead of being pushed around by fate. So what I want to do is not charity, but to hand that key into the hands of those who are trying to climb out of that cage. After I finished speaking, the reception room fell into silence. Tatin quietly looked at me. In her eyes there was astonishment, there was understanding, finally settling into a very deep resonance and respect. Mr. Tran, it is an honor to cooperate with a person like you. This time she didn't call me Boss Tran anymore. I shook her hand, a warm and firm hand. Me too, MS. From this moment on, my life has truly taken off. What has passed was merely a prologue, while the future spreading out before my eyes is a vast ocean filled with infinite possibilities. The cooperation agreement with the Tin Quang Fund was officially signed on a beautiful sunny afternoon. There was no media, no ribbon cutting, not even champagne. But right in my company's largest meeting room, me, Truong Loy, Tatin, and her two core associates, sitting around a meeting table, the moment I signed the two words Tran and onto the contract, then stamped the company's seal. I felt an unprecedented sense of reassurance. This was not a business deal, yet it made my heart surge more than any business contract I had ever signed. Happy cooperation, Boss Tran. Tatin proactively reached out her hand, Her hand was very warm. A decisive and forceful handshake. Happy cooperation, MS. To Trong Loy, standing beside, smiling brightly, even eagerly said tonight we must invite the people from the fund out for a proper meal to celebrate. But was smilingly rejected by the Tin. Celebrating is not necessary. Boss Tran, Boss Trong. It's better that we just spend our time and effort thinking about how to spend the first amount of money in the right place. There are many children who might be waiting for exactly this money to enroll in university. If we delay for a day, their fates might become completely different. She was always calm, practical, and hit straight to the point like that. Truong Loy was slightly embarrassed, scratching his head, while I completely agreed, Mess, to you are very right. My side will pour all resources into fully cooperating. The takeoff project officially weighed anchor from here. In the days that followed, I almost poured half of my energy into this project. My team, and to Tin's team, every week had to hold video meetings 2 to 3 times, discussing every implementation detail from online application handling to the effective screening mechanism with the universities. From designing communication materials to the process of verifying the family circumstances of each applying student, we carried over the entire rigorous, effective working method from the commercial project. Tin's professionalism made me admire her. Even the character traits of students in different regions, she grasped very clearly. While my experience in online promotion, process optimization, and data analysis also made her look at me differently. The two of us were like two interlocking gears on this takeoff project, bursting forth an astonishing amount of energy. That evening, to finalize the online application system, me, Tin, and the technical teams from both sides. We're busy until 11 p.m. in my office. After seeing everyone off, in the office only the two of us were left. I ordered takeout, eat a little. She wasn't overly polite either, rubbing her slightly tired eyes. All right, the food was very simple. 2 portions of minced meat and century egg congee, with a few steamer baskets of small dumplings. We just sat on the sofa in the reception area, no longer having the serious demeanor like when working during the day. The atmosphere softened significantly. Tranin, have you ever thought about one thing? She suddenly called me straight by my name, not calling me Boss Tran anymore. Our established criteria set is designed very rationally. It could even be said to be quite cold. Looking at test scores, looking at family income proof papers, looking at achievement certificates, everything can be quantified. For example, but there are things that cannot be quantified. For example, a child's character, their willpower, their thirst for the future. Those things cannot be fully shown on a transcript. Previously, when I did projects, I leaned more towards going to the field, meeting the students directly to talk. But the scale of the takeoff project is too large. We don't have the equivalent manpower and time. I understood her concern, therefore I added a module to the system. It's not mandatory to fill out. I asked a question. Please use one thing to prove why you deserve to have this opportunity. The length is not limited. The format is also not limited. They can write a letter, can also upload a self-recorded video clip. Even just a single photo. Tin paused, looking at me. In her eyes flashed a look of surprise. This is a variable. It breaks the purely quantitative scoring system. It gives those children who are not good at taking exams, but have a story, have thoughts and opportunity, and at the same time helps our assessors from behind those cold numbers. To see flesh and blood human beings, Tin stayed silent for a long time. After finishing the takeout food, it was also nearly 1 in the morning. I drove my car to take her home. The car stopped below the building in her residential area. She took off her seatbelt, but didn't get out of the car right away. Thank you for the bowl of congee. It was very delicious. Also, thank you, too, for letting me see a different possibility of doing charity. She raised her head under the dim street lights. Her eyes lit up unusually. It should be me thanking you instead, because you helped me find the meaning of making money. Good night. She smiled slightly, like a white magnolia quietly blooming in the night. Watching her back going upstairs, I suddenly felt this cold city seem to also warm up a little bit. The online application system of the Takeoff project officially launched at the beginning of August, thanks to the company's skillfully operated promotion channels. In just a short half-month, we received over 5,000 valid applications from all over the country. My team and Atin's team entered the most intense evaluation phase. Every application file represented a young person's expectation for the future and the heavy hope of an entire family. We didn't dare to be negligent even for a bit. To ensure fairness, we designed a 3-round review mechanism. The first round was screened by the system according to the hard criteria, eliminating applicants who clearly did not meet the conditions. Round 2, handled by the fund's personnel for manual evaluation, cross-checking the authenticity of the files. The final round, handled by me, Tatin, and core members forming a final review council, giving the final assessment for the candidates who passed round 2. On the day of the final review meeting, the atmosphere was serious and heavy. On the big screen, the files of each candidate appeared one by one. Those files made my heart turbulent. There was a boy from the mountainous region of Gansu. His father died in a mine collapse. His mother relied on a few patches of poor farmland and working as a hired clothes mender to raise him and his younger sister up. His university entrance exam score was more than 100 points higher than the admission cutoff for top universities. Then there was a girl from an old industrial area in the Northeast. Both parents lost their jobs and lived by doing seasonal labor. The girl got admitted into a prestigious normal university in Yunnan. In the supplementary documents, she wrote a very long letter. In the letter, she said her dream is to become a teacher. After graduating, she would return to her hometown to teach at the rural primary school that is most lacking teachers. Because she herself was previously someone whose life had its hope lit up by a volunteer teacher. She wanted to pass that flame onwards. There was another child who made me remember forever. He came from a small county whose name I had never even heard of, but got accepted into a top law school. In the supplementary documents, it was written that he also uploaded a self-recorded video clip. In the video, he didn't complain about hardships, nor did he talk about his dreams. But with a calmness far exceeding his age, he analyzed why the local specialty agricultural products are difficult to sell directly. Then even proposed a complete plan to promote the brand via e-commerce platforms and short videos. Looking at those vibrant lives, always trying to rise up, I seem to see countless versions of myself from the past. The teenager of that year, guarding the old house all alone in Go-Along village, relying on a stubborn breath of refusing to lose to bury his head in studying. If back then there was also a takeoff project, then wouldn't my path have been a little bit easier? I approve of this student. This student also passes. This child is very thoughtful, definitely must be kept. Me and a 10 on almost all excellent candidates. Quickly reached a consensus. Our value systems were also verified over and over again through each evaluation. Finally, after an 8-hour-long marathon meeting, we determined the first 100 sponsorship slots of the takeoff project. When the final list was locked on the big screen, the whole meeting room rang with resounding applause. Everyone was exhausted to the bone, but on each person's face, there shone joy and a feeling of satisfaction from the bottom of their hearts. We succeeded. No, this is only the beginning. I looked at those names on the screen, feeling the burden on my shoulders becoming even heavier. After the meeting, I sat alone for a very long time in the office. I was not agitated as if I had just won a big battle. On the contrary, my heart surged. An unprecedented feeling of peace and stability. That feeling was even more fulfilling than the company's account having a surplus of nearly 35 billion more. Right at that moment, the phone rang. It was a strange number, but the area code displayed was exactly my hometown. I hesitated for a moment, then still picked up the phone. Hello, is that Shawan? Uncle 7. Did you change your number? Yeah, I just followed my son up to the city. He made a new number for me. Shawan, I'm not bothering you, right? I just wanted to inform you, my whole family has moved out completely. That's great. If you need any help, just tell me. No need, everything is fine. Oh, by the way, let me tell you this matter. The matter in the village. My heart sank slightly. What is it? Go-Along village is gone. Gone, what do you mean? Recently there were several heavy rains in a row. Flash floods poured down, submerging the whole village. Especially the big pit at the east end of the village. water rose up fully, flooding backward into the village, collapsing several houses. The remaining people have all moved away completely. People say that area has become a geologically hazardous zone, no longer suitable for living. I stayed silent, not knowing what to say. The disappearance of an entire village ended in such a way. Then what happened after that? After that, I heard the city has a new plan because the land is abandoned, nobody lives there, and it's far from residential areas, so they plan to build a large-scale waste-energy incineration plant there. I held the phone, momentarily not knowing whether to cry or laugh. The dragon vein that they risked their lives to protect, the feng shui land that they longed for day and night, in the end became the waste treatment site for the whole city. Sigh. Well, consider it as having its functionality fully utilized. All right then, Shaolin. I won't say any more, just letting you know. Is there anything more ironic than that in this world? From now on, we won't have that home anymore either. Just let past matters pass. And, Uncle Seven, you take care of your health. Hanging up, I stepped to the window, looking at the myriad of lights in the city down below. Uncle Seven said we no longer have that home. No, I hadn't had it for a long time. Right from the moment I signed to receive the money, then stepped onto the passenger bus to leave. Ngoa Long Village to me had just been a place name, a coordinate in life. And now even that coordinate is about to be erased from a map. Well, it's also good. Just let those grievances, regrets, greed, and delusions drift away with the village, turning into blue smoke, dissipating into the dust of history. From now on, there will no longer be Ngoa Long Village in the world. Uncle Seven's call was like a shovel tossing away the last handful of dirt in my heart about Ngoa Long Village completely cleanly. My world became significantly lighter, significantly cleaner, like never before. On the weekend, Titin unexpectedly messaged me. She invited me to a forest park on the outskirts of the city. The next day, I arrived at the park gate right on time. Titin was already waiting there. Today she wasn't wearing office clothes, but a neat sportswear outfit, hair tied in high ponytail. Bare face without makeup, looking like a college student who just graduated, full of youthful vitality. Have you waited long? No, I also just arrived. Let's go. Today we don't discuss work. Consider it giving the body a day off. We followed the stone step path in the park, slowly walking up the mountain. The air in the park was fresh, filled with the scent of trees and grass. The sound of birds singing rang out intermittently in the forest. Sunlight filtered through the leaves, sprinkling dappled patches of light onto the ground. We walked very slowly, on the way just chatting about a few light topics, talking about recently released movies, talking about which restaurant cooks better, talking about funny stories from when we were in school. I just realized, when away from work, to Tin turns out also has a very everyday side. She can burst out laughing because of a detail in a movie. Can also complain about a certain milk tea shop putting too much sugar. That feeling is very strange, but also very comfortable. We're like a pair of old friends who have known each other for a long time. On a leisurely afternoon, together enjoying this rare, quiet moment. Walking to an observation deck halfway up the mountain, we stopped to rest. From here one can look down at more than half of the city, closely packed high-rises, crisscrossing roads, exuding exactly a modern look. Unexpectedly right next to that concrete and steel forest, there is such a quiet place like this. Yeah, Titin leaned against the railing, letting the mountain wind blow her hair wildly. Trannon, there are times I still think us risking our lives trying to hustle in this city like that. Disclaimer, all content, characters, settings, and events are products of my imagination and were created for entertainment purposes only.